Hey guys, we've been getting a lot of questions about our kitchen and or the pull-out kitchen on the Cruiser, and we thought we'd share with you how we built it and just how it works.
We've got heaps of practical ideas here. We just needed to be really functional and practical, and we wanted to save space because we've only got this much space to have our whole house. So that was the challenge.
Yeah, let's get into it. The first thing I did was cut out a template out of the underlay and some cardboard to create a shape of the floor, and then I transferred that to a sheet of form ply using a white marker pen. I set everything on the ply to see how it looked with the space and to get an idea of measurements. I chose to use form ply for several reasons, knowing it would be heavy. The main reason is my background is in building, and with the 8 weeks time frame to do the entire build, I went with what I knew. After the trip we decided we were going to make it lighter, but for now this is prototype 1. I cut the ply with a circular saw and then a jigsaw for the rounded edges. Then I put it in place and bolted it down into the rear seat mount threads. Then I ran a cable from the crank battery through the firewall and down the left side of the Cruiser. To have everything fit perfectly, I decided to work from the left side first, knowing that I was constrained to the sizes of the batteries and the fridge slide. That way I could custom build the drawers to fit the remaining floor size after they were installed. Before going too much further, I cut a hole in the rear door jamb to run cables for the solar panel, the awning lights, and for the rooftop tent. I made the battery box in a way that the weight of the batteries would be resting on the wheel arch, and cut the holes in the box with a hole saw to take out some weight. Then covered both rear windows with a windshield sun protector cut in half and bolted a piece of 30 by 30mm finishing timber up where the holy shit handles go, using the handle mounting points. This allowed me somewhere to screw a 12-volt switch panel. In the efforts to keep the costs down, we got the large Titan fridge slide for our 70-litre Engel fridge. The medium size was too small and the large size was actually too big. However, I figured out a few ways to maximize the extra space on the fridge slide by hinging a gas cooker to one side and fitting a cabinet to the front with a drop-down bench. You'll see that soon. Bernece had told me that even with that bench, there still wasn't enough working space. So I came up with this idea that if I weld a nut onto the back door, I could potentially have a screw-on, screw-off extension bench. I thought I had some timber that I could use as a bench lying around in the garage, and then I remembered I used it as a bed head in the spare room.
This is so... I now have to go back to Bunnings. We can use this with a bench.
And get a new one later.
Yeah. So it's going to be like that. So this is what, can this go
On the end.
like that?
And still have plenty of room.
Still have plenty of room for,
Yeah, I think
then
you
you can pull out your drawer if you need to get in the pantry. You can pull this out. Pop that one. Oh, you can't, you're filming.
I'm filming.
Yeah. So pull this right out. Cooker is here.
I can't see.
So you got the fridge out, you got the cooker up here, and we screw this down here. That can stay there, move around the edges, or we can recess out of this for the stay and send it back a bit. Then we got the pop down sink over here. I think that's pretty good like that. You got enough workspace here. Pull your pantry out here.
Yeah.
And you've got your little cooker here.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah?
I can make that work.
So I rounded off the edges, cut some holes, and used a plastic hand tightening bolt to secure the bench. The next mission was to figure out a way to store the bench in a way that was easy to access at any given time. So I built a cavity for it to slide in and out of underneath the drawers. Once the bench slider was sorted, I could get on to making the drawers to sit on top of it. Now I don't have access to a panel saw or a CNC machine, but here's a little trick to help get exact cuts when making cabinetry. Using some scrap finishing timber, screw together a T-square and push the straight edge up against it on either side and clamp it still. That way you have a better chance of setting up a straight cut. Never lose track of the factory edge. If you work off the factory edge, you'll always know that your cuts will be straight and square. I finished making the drawer carcass and then I mounted it on top of the pull-out bench slide. Then I pulled it back out and cut some big holes in the top to take out some of the weight. Even after cutting the holes, you can see on the scales that it was almost 20 kgs. I cut the drawer boxes about 5 mm smaller than the width and about 15 mm smaller than the height of the carcass opening to allow it to run smoothly. Another reason I wanted to use form ply is because its smooth surface runs really well on itself. I screwed all the cabinetry together with 28 mm cabinetry screws, making sure that they were countersunk, and I used some L brackets in places for extra strength. Then I cut out a top to go over the drawers and fridge to create a parcel shelf. I used old aluminium posts from the legs of a broken gazebo for supports over the fridge. The drawer faces were cut with a few millimeters clearance to fit snug when closed. And for a handle, I cut an opening at the top of the drawer face. The drawer faces were fixed on with L brackets and a simple slide lock on the outside to hold them closed. Remember the space at the front of the fridge slide? I built a little cabinet with a door that doubled as a drop-down bench. We removed the fridge handle and used the same screw holes to attach the cabinet to the fridge. Here's a little upright I built for a mirror and a toothbrush holder. Nothing worse than having to dig through your bags to find a toothbrush at night, and this also proved to be a great addition. I screwed an upright on either side of the parcel shelf to help hold items like camp chairs, etc., and that completed the cabinetry build. Obviously, this is a heavy build and we are going to strip it down and make it lighter. However, it did prove to be a quick and easy setup, and it worked really well.
Okay, and then I've got my extra kitchen bench.
And pop down your sink.
I think. Oh, yeah. And
Sink
that's
goes
my
down.
kitchen. And I've got room to do everything I need to. Oh, I've got a little bit of spot there and a little bit of spot here.
And how's your drawers, pantry?
Pantry's good. I'll get what I need to.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that needs a little bit. So that's cool.
Alright, let's see it go back in. Building.
Oh,
Oh,
here.
there.
Oh, we'll see ya. Okay.
She's sitting up. She's sitting up, and
I want things.
that ain't the Marmite.
It's delicious.
No, we don't do Vegemite, we do Marmite. That's Vegemite.